But we've got the opportunity to work right here in this state and put people back to work, rebuilding our roads.
Thanks for joining us. At this table for the very first time is Brian Barnes. Brian is a DFL endorsed candidate for Minnesota Congressional District Number 3. Brian, welcome to Democratic Visions.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
Now, Brian, your opponent, Erik Paulsen, styles himself as a political moderate, which seems pretty odd to me because I know that he has signed the pledge to Grover Norquist's organization not to raise taxes under any circumstances. Do you agree with his self-characterization as a political moderate?
Absolutely not. You know, first off, you look at the way he styles himself as a moderate, he actually votes more party line than Michelle Bachmann does. That kind of puts a perspective in things. But when you touch on the Grover Norquist pledge, I have a real hard problem here. One hand, yeah, the pledge is bad. But on the second hand, here's a gentleman who took an oath of office to serve our country and to serve this district, and he went ahead and took another oath that supersedes his oath of office.
Or so he would say.
Or so he would say. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. No member of Congress should ever have an oath that supersedes their oath of office.
I don't think anybody's voted for Grover Norquist recently, have they?
Not that I know of.
Just in general terms, what's your perception of Erik Paulsen? I mean, I know that he's a career politician. He spent, I think, 14 years in the State House of Representatives. He was a so-called leader among the right-wingers over in the State House. He got into Congress 2 terms ago, and he's seeking his 3rd term right now. He hasn't accomplished very much in Congress, has he?
No, he has accomplished absolutely nothing. When you look at what Erik Paulsen does and is, in my mind, we have the most mediocre congressman in one of the country's most exceptional districts. You look at the 3rd district and what we have, and it's absolutely wonderful that we attract people from all over to come and live in this district, and we've got representation that is just deplorable. He hasn't done a single thing, even when you look at the district, and we'll take the medical devices companies, for instance. They play a huge role here in this district. We have large ones, we have small ones. He decided to put through this medical device tax. This could have actually helped out some jobs here in the district and in the state. And I agree with him on that one piece. But what he did wrong is he forgot to reach across the aisle and find a common way to fund it. Instead, he decided to fund it on the backs of the poor by taking away part of their health care.
Well, didn't he want to take money that was going to go to fund the Affordable Health Care Act?
Yes,
to finance
that's
that?
exactly what it was. So he wanted to fund it off the backs of the poor. And as a result, of course, it's not getting through the Senate. The president's not going to sign off on it. If he truly wanted to get things done, he would sit there and say, you know what, Keith, Betty, how can we sit down and find a common way to fund this so it can go through all the way across? I've got to wonder at some point, while he talks a good game with the medical device companies, somewhere along the way, they're going to sit there and say, well, what has he actually done for us? And at the end of the day, he hasn't done anything but talk.
Have you seen anything in his political career that would justify his self-comparison to being a protege of Jim Ramstad, who was a Republican, as we all know, but I think probably fairly well represented the district over the years. Now, Paulsen worked for Ramstad, but it seems to me it's night and day difference between those 2 individuals.
It's an absolute night and day difference. And you know, when you look at this district, we've had a proud tradition of people who would work across the aisle. Bill Frenzel, Jim Ramstad. Jim Ramstad, still well liked in this district. And even as a Republican, there's a lot of Democrats that voted for him. He won with 70+% of the vote. But you've got Erik Paulsen, again, votes more party line than Michelle Bachmann, is voted for the Ryan budget, votes for the most extreme elements of the far right, and is nowhere near a moderate and hasn't once crossed over on any valuable issue to the other side.
Brian, now this is your first time on Democratic Visions, but in fact, Democratic Visions has been tracking you from the earliest days of your campaign.
Look at the Republican that just got,
Cheryl, this is Brian Barnes, running for U.S. Congress here in the 3rd against Erik
So yeah, right now we're working on calling
to
delegates to go to the Senate District Convention, and then from there we'll go to the Congressional Convention.
We have people like myself who are old school, and then we have these incredible young people who are doing the social media thing.
I'm just getting involved in the political system. I really think Barnes is a good candidate, so.
And we would all love for you to be kind of
Typically,
thank you. Have a great time.
Land Precinct 2, Barnes and Noble, for the most.
Today, I'm going to ask you to stand with me, and together we can change this district and change the country. Thank you very much. Unlike Erik Paulsen, I will never, ever swear an oath to Grover Norquist. You know, people here in the 3rd are excited. They see an opportunity that we can finally put somebody in who stands up for good, strong Minnesotan values.
Honorary co-chair of her campaign. So
wonderful.
If you want a Congress that represents you, stand up. Stand up and be counted.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, why'd you bring that up?
Last one.
In Maple Grove, and would be
Finish it up.
fantastic if you could 452.
You know, this district is one of only 75 districts in the entire country that hasn't been gerrymandered to the point that, you know, someone can really come together and bring together everybody from both sides.
You're the top. You're the Coliseum. You're the top. You're the Louvre Museum. You're a melody by a symphony by Strauss.
Brian Barnes, he's our guy. Oh my goodness, look at us. Oh, guys, these are the fringe benefits. You have to get to be my age to get away with this. Trust me, these are the fringe benefits. How could I be mistaken? The baby is 4 weeks away. Please.
Generally speaking, you've been out and about talking to the voters. What in your background makes you conclude that you can better represent the 3rd District than Congressman Paulsen?
Look at Congress today. What do we need more than anything? We need leadership and people with honor and integrity. Because at the end of the day, no work's going to get done if they just sit back and you know, protect their own special interests. What we need are people with the leadership skills to come to the table and say, you know what, you might not get 100% of what you want, I may not get 100% of what I want, but we owe it to the people we represent to sit down at the table and find a way forward. That's something that Paulsen has refused to do on any issue worth anything. I come from a very strong leadership background. I attended the United States Merchant Marine Academy, served for 11 years in the Naval Reserve, and got out as a lieutenant commander. I went to business school, got my MBA, and was running the Marine Division for a company right here in Minnesota, where 100% of the products in my product line were designed and manufactured right here in Minnesota. And over 80% of those we sold overseas. So good old American manufacturing jobs right here in the state. And you compare that to Paulsen. And Paulsen, as you mentioned earlier, has been a career politician. We need people who understand business and can help move government forward and the country forward with an understanding of business. That's something that Paulsen doesn't have in his background. And he truly doesn't have the leadership skills to make anything happen either.
Brian, thanks for stopping by. We're going to catch you again soon, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. I sure appreciate you having me here today.
Democratic Visions is handmade by volunteers through DFL Senate District 48, Eden Prairie and Minnetonka. Lori Pryor, Chair.